My oh my, Egyptian themed games have sure come a long way. Now it seems they make them super complex and they incorporate sunbathing dice just for the lols. Welcome to Tekhenu, Obelisk of the Sun in 5 minutes or less. Joining the pharaohs in creating and growing one of the most impressive sights the world has ever seen, your job is to give a nod and a bow to the Egyptian gods, whilst playing duck and cover against the reckoning of a goddess. The first 6 of those gods are your playing field, with the board broken down to an equal number of sections. First things first though, you'll be drafting dice placed around the titular obelisk. Each turn the sun does its thing and the dice are placed appropriately in the sun, shade or the dark, dependent on their colour, leaving you with 3 variables to consider: a die's colour, value and its placement. That last one's important because that leaves some sections off limits for the turn, with the 2 remaining becoming pure or tainted actions, which is where the good lady Mutt comes in to make sure balance and harmony is holding sway. Take too many of one or the other and you'll pay for it in points and initiative. Whatever dice you draft will then align with a specific action tied to one of the gods, each with differing mechanics. Horus will gift you bonuses when other players take a particular action. Ra will see you placing tiles in the temple complex for immediate and long-term payoff, which also couples with Hathor as you build around the temple and increase your population, which in turn links with Bastet, who will give your populace a reason to be happy, leaving Thoth to let you draft cards that transition from immediate benefits to endgame goals, and Osiris to give a leg up on your resource generation. Which is to say there's a lot going on, a number of different ways to score points and a fair amount of overlap and synergies to each. With a fixed length of 16 rounds broken down into sub-phases, your job is to tie all this together the most efficiently and garner the most points. So why might you like it? Well, for one, you can really feel the synergies and overlaps with each of the sections on the board connected to the 6 actions. It's far from homogeneous, but there's a clear sense of these common relationships, with one part of the board feeding into another organically, and in a way that doesn't try too hard to make them fit. That decision-making variable of pure, tainted or forbidden dice is also a real treat. Do you take the action you want come hell or high water, or do you balance the scales of purity and taint so that Mart doesn't give you an almighty frown? Do you take a high-value dice that will sometimes give you more choice at the expense of cost, or a low-value one once again in order to retain equilibrium? Often anything with dice comes with a great deal of variability, yet there remains plenty of agency and a lot less luck that informs your decision making. Forward motion is always available to you, yet the game despite this is still able to open different doors for you every time you play depending on how the dice roll out, encouraging you to adopt a different path to victory each time. But why might you not like it? Well, for one, there's a disparity in the engagement, and for that matter the complexity of each of the actions. The temple complex, for example, has what feels like a convoluted set of rules, whereas most of the others are fairly self-explanatory, and that, I'm afraid, makes them more appealing until you really get au fait with the game. There's also too much you would categorise as a bit fiddly. The moving of dice each round is tricky to get your head around. The way each round is broken down into different sub-phases can detach you from where you're at, and the scoring cards given out at the start and that can be drafted during are all over the map in terms of their efficacy. As a frame of reference, both Trismegistus, the Ultimate Formula, and Praga Caput Regni share similarities with Tekhenu, which itself is a proud, innovative, if not perfect addition to the heavyweight division. Alas, I've been the voice of Benji, and this video has ended. So Tekhenu is actually just Obelisk in Egyptian, which got me to thinking how many other games play it sneaky with translation.